this beautiful house in Santa Rosa, California, and today I will show you how to make marble cake in a Bundt pan. This is a temporary kitchen, but I actually went to San Francisco and I brought all my baking equipment, including this beautiful stand mixer. To me, I bake a lot. This is an essential piece and it makes things so much easier. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I will tell you how to make a marble cake in a Bundt pan like this. The trick is to grease it very nicely with butter. All I do is I take a piece of butter and I grease it like this. You want to really get it into all the little crevices over there. And then once you sort of have it roughly all over, you want to really smudge it with your fingers. Okay, so the next thing is you want to dust it with flour. So what I do is I just take a little bit of flour and I put it through a flour sieve like this. And I just put the flour all over the form. And it's okay if you put more flour in, because what you're going to do, tap it like this and rotate it so the flour covers the entire pan. And then once that's done, all you do, the excess flour, you just get it out of the form. You might want to tap it more. So you don't want too much flour there, you just want one layer of flour. And so it will look about like this, and this is when the pan is ready for the marble cake. If you've seen any of my other baking lesson videos, you probably already noticed that there's this one common trick to baking, and that is to always separate your wet ingredients from your dry ingredients. So to start, we are going to be putting 1 cup of softened room temperature butter. It's cubed into the bowl. And we'll be adding 2 cups of granulated sugar. And then you're going to be creaming it for about 5 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. Okay, so even though the butter is pretty soft, sometimes what you need to do is to take a spatula and just scrape the sides of the bowl like this, so you know the batter really mixes all the way nicely and blends and gets fluffy together with the sugar. So this looks done. It's the butter, it was a bit more yellow, and you can see how it actually has become more of this paler yellow color. Next up is adding 4 eggs, and you want to add them sort of one at a time, mixing in between. So a few in, and then I'm mixing like this, and then one more, and mix again. Common technique, because as you change the fluidity of your batter, you kind of want to stop in between and make sure you scrape the sides, because that will ensure that you don't have these more thicker batter on the sides that will go in, and it will be like clumps basically, and that's not what you want. So last that goes in. I really like vanilla, and I'm pretty generous with it usually, so I sort of eyeball it, but it's about 1 to 2 teaspoons. It depends on how much vanilla flavor you like. Another secret to good baking, I tend to really like recipes that have fermented milk products like yogurt or kefir or sour cream. And when I saw this recipe, and I've been making it now for several years, this recipe has sour cream in it. So when I saw this, I was like, this has to be a good recipe. What fermented milk products do is they really just add moisture to it and usually just lighten the dough. So this recipe calls for half a cup of sour cream. So another common practice in baking, and I've mentioned it before in other videos, is to always mix your dry ingredients and then put them through a sieve. So here I have 2 3/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon and a half of baking powder, And we will need half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then add 1 teaspoon of salt into the dry ingredients. Take a bigger spoon and mix it. So you want to mix the dry ingredients when they are in the bowl separately, so that when you add it to the wet ingredients that are nice and fluffy, you don't have to mix it for long, because if you mix the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients for too long, it will basically deflate the batter. So I'll put the flour in here like this into this bowl. See how nice? Separately, the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients are ready and they can now be incorporated. So what you do is you add about half of the flour into the wet ingredients. And I don't want the flour to go over, so I'll sort of use the spatula to first incorporate it a little bit. So I started mixing it, and at this stage, the point is to incorporate everything, but not to overdo it, because that's how you do not deflate the batter and you keep it nice and fluffy. So next up, in between this step, you add a 3/4 cup of milk. And so you want to start mixing it and pouring it. Again, my best friend in baking is always the spatula. Probably my 2 favorite things are the spatula and the stand mixer. And again, the same technique, you scrape the sides and then you add the rest of the dry ingredients. Like this. And you start it off with the spatula again. So scraping the sides. It's done, it looks really nice. So next up is we are making chocolate and vanilla kind of batter. So what's next is to separate it. Half of the batter will go into a second bowl, like this. This recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. So again, it's usually very clumpy. So you actually, in this step, really want to put it through a sieve. It smells so good. Okay, and it goes in like this. There, I first incorporated a little bit of this by hand, and then I will do a quick mix at high speed. The aroma is delightful. This is already the cocoa one and the plain vanilla one. And now I'll show you the trick how to make the marble cake. So here it goes. Take a nice big spoon, and what you want to do is you're going to be alternating white batter. Actually, I'll need a second spoon. Okay, I don't have a bigger spoon, I'll just take this one. And what you do is you put dollops of butter in, kind of alternating. So I'm gonna do something like this, something like that, and then in between here it's going to be, so I wish I had a bigger spoon, like this, so the chocolate goes there. Okay, and then the white batter, so you really create this like checkered pattern. Goes on, the white batter goes on top of the cocoa powder, sorry, batter. The white batter goes on top of the cocoa batter, and then the same thing. So I want to put the cocoa batter on top of the vanilla batter. So you want to even the top a little bit. It was already pretty even, so that's it. And sometimes you want to shake it a little bit to kind of really make sure that it sets in. So this is another trick of baking. So something to remember is now we're going to be running fork through the batter to incorporate, to swirl the cocoa batter and the vanilla one. So this is how we'll get that nice marble effect. How it's looking at the top is a good representation of how it's looking on the inside. The marble cake is ready. This is so exciting. It has a beautiful marble pattern. And now it goes into the preheated oven and you bake it for 50 to 60 minutes. Now we can just go on a walk with the dogs. While the marble cake is in the oven for 50 to 60 minutes, I wanted to show you a little bit around the house. It's so beautiful here. I mean, right here you see these beautiful purple flowers, gorgeous purple irises right here, beautiful California oak trees. Who's coming home? Dasha and Abby are always the welcome committee. They're always welcoming whoever's returning home. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. This is what I love about living in California. This is real Californian living, is when you have a fig tree in the garden, and then you see boxes here for an herb garden and a vegetable garden. So fig trees are always very recognizable. They have these beautiful big leaves. This one actually is just starting to sprout new leaves. And it has like such a cute little ladder here. I guess, you know, you do want to go up and reach those delicious, soft, sun-ripe figs when they're ready. Oh my goodness, I can actually see figs. They're already here. Wow. See, look at that. These are young figs. That's how they grow. And over here you see a series of fruit trees. So I think this is an apple tree. I'm sort of recognizing the blossom of the apple tree. Over here, it already has some fruit. I would say this kind of looks like a plum, maybe. And then if we continue, here it's adorable. You have little fuzzy fruit here. I would assume they're peaches or apricots. And over here, the fruit are actually nice and big already. They're clearly stone fruit, also seem to be a little bit fuzzy. I would say they're also either peaches or apricots. What you're seeing right now are the beautiful hills of Sonoma County. Yes, I am in wine country in California right now. Napa is not far, Sonoma is not far, wineries. You know, right now, of course, during the coronavirus crisis, everything is closed. Actually, Sonoma County closed down all the parks. There's a park right there you can see, but it is completely closed. And the beach is 40-minute drive from here. The beach is closed as well. So again, social distancing, self-isolation, all of that is very much in order here in Sonoma County. Can you hear that? The one way to see if it's ready is to insert a wooden toothpick and see if it comes out dry. This really, from experience, looks ready to me, and I'm just going to let it cool for 20 to 30 minutes before I flip it over, and hopefully the cake just comes out clean. The marble cake is still warm, but it's cool enough now to release it. And I'm just kind of checking the edges here and making sure that it actually comes off, so you just kind of want to run a knife alongside, because the key is where it's nice and has all that detail, you want that to really come out. So at least you can do, well, the least you can do is just make sure that the edges are not attached. So I'm just going to do something like this, flip it over, and let's hope that it will actually come out. You want to kind of just like shake it. Woo. But if it does happen, it's not too bad. You can sort of reattach it like this, and the cake will still look quite perfect. So you can see the marble pattern we were working on. You can lay it down like this. And voila, this is ready to be enjoyed. I'm a little bit of a coffee connoisseur, and so Equator Coffee is a local Bay Area brand. And of course, coffee is always better when you freshly grind it right before actually having the coffee. All right, hey, coffee. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. And for more videos like that, check out my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I'm going to have this cake now with the fresh coffee. I hope to see you next time. Bye guys.